City Sounds. Creating podcasts, creating podcasters.
This is the place to start. In this series of podcasts, we hope to give you some tips and inspiration to get help if you hit a few bumps along the way on your time here at City.
Anxiety. I feel like anxiety is a really hidden and quiet problem.
Balancing everything is so hard.
It's just overwhelming sometimes.
It definitely goes up and down depending on how stressful the deadlines are.
Doing your work to the best of your ability means you can't take care of your mental health at the same time, and it's a vicious cycle.
Loneliness and to the anxiety and stress that comes with simply just moving somewhere new.
This is a production by students for students, and we hope you'll find it interesting. There'll be information about how you can get more help at the end of each episode.
Just knowing that there's things available in City for me.
In this episode, we meet two of the people who work in the support team, Tom and Elena, and they're talking with our producer, Jamie.
Hi, I'm Elena. I'm a Student Health and Wellbeing Engagement Advisor at City University. I work in the engagement team with 3 other engagement advisors, and I've been here for about 2 years now, coming up to 2 years.
And I'm Tom, I'm a mental health advisor. At City, I work in Student Health and Wellbeing as a mental health advisor, and I see many students across the university on all manner of different courses at various different points of their studies. I'm an occupational therapist by background, and I've worked in mental health services for about 12 years within the NHS, and this is my first role in a university.
Tell us a little bit more about then your background and what kind of led you into this career.
Before working here, I worked at Guildhall School of Music and Drama, and during the lockdown, I started giving people wellbeing advice over email, and I started this sort of what started as a very panicked email chain of wellbeing advice during that time when we were all sent away and sent to work from home. It was called Calm Alternatives, and I decided that I felt like I could be quite good at giving sort of reasonable advice to people that they could follow in times of distress. And so I started a blog, became more interested about wellbeing, and then started my training to become a counsellor. And during that, found that I could do that kind of work in HE. So just continued and found myself here.
I worked as a support worker many years ago, and I was looking at retraining, and I stumbled across occupational therapy. I thought it was more me. Occupational therapists use occupation or doing activities, tasks to get well, to promote well-being, to sort of support better independence and function. And I ended up working in mental health and really loved it, really liked the variety, really liked the kind of time you can spend with people and what you can give people. It's not so like quick turnaround like many other roles. You really get a sense of a person's narrative and story, and you get to be there to, really make a difference.
Yeah, tell us a bit more about your role here is at the university, what you kind of achieve day to day or week on week.
Yeah, so as an engagement advisor, I'm usually the first port of call into the service. So students wanting to access wellbeing services, mental health, neurodiversity services, they come through us. And a part of my job is telling people about the service, attending events and advertising us, making sure that students know where to go to come and see us, and having those initial conversations to get to know students and get to know what they really need from us and what would help their learning going forward.
So we rely on students booking in to see us, and we see people initially for like a registration appointment where we complete an assessment, really get to know them, get to know all of their issues, work to develop like a support plan. We explore like reasonable adjustments that we can put in place to sort of underpin their learning. But, we try and come up with some kind of creative ways forward, and many things that people have never shared actually. So I do feel in quite a sort of privileged to be that person in the university that people, feel safe in making a disclosure.
It's really important, I guess, to get the message out there that students know that this service exists and how to find you and things like that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that it's really important in things like freshers events, and when students first come to university, sometimes it's the first thing students look for is where's the wellbeing department, because maybe they've experienced really positive wellbeing advice and support, and so they want that from their next institution. So that's a really good way to kind of get people involved.
One of the things that's really important is being quite, assertive and exploring what's out there, getting to know different people across the university, like working together something bigger and using everything at your disposal to support them. So it's very similar here, like projects like this means I can kind of come and meet you guys and talk to you about what I'm doing in the service, and I'm hoping that will help many students.
Being in this environment and able to kind of drive those conversations must be, it's super important, but also must be kind of rewarding as well.
It is, and I think university students really, really need that wellbeing support. Often it's the first time in, somebody's life where they're in a different environment and they're with different people and strangers, and sometimes living with strangers. And all of those things can contribute to feeling very lonely and feeling very different from your peers and wanting to belong. And all of those things can contribute to maybe poor mental health and poor wellbeing. So these services are so important for students particularly.
People always say that if you work in mental health, it's it must be very rewarding, and there are rewarding aspects to it. I think ultimately it's seeing people achieving their qualification really and going on to have careers. That's great, but I think sometimes it's more sort of short term than that. Smaller changes, because sometimes the smaller changes really kind of contribute to the overall ones, the overall goals in the end. Doing something differently and sort of thinking about how that felt, what that means. All of those sort of things, I think, collectively really help to add to a person's experience.
I felt the benefit of counselling and mental health support, and I've seen positive change in myself. And so I kind of know it works. So I want to give that message to others, to know that speaking to somebody will make a really big difference to you, and it is worth the conversation. And also asking for help, there's no shame around that. And I wanted to get that message across and hopefully do it in the line of work that I do.
I don't think there's ever a right time to study or make a change or explore something new. I go a lot on feeling, which is something that is hard to quantify, but it's very individual. Your life experiences are important. They do make you who you are and bring something to the way you work. So if it takes you a long time to find a career, it took me a bit longer to kind of get my foothold in health and social care in the NHS, it doesn't matter really. You bring your experience to the work. A lot of students who I see are very determined, ambitious people who are very driven, which is great, but they sometimes don't have any ability to sort of think about what's next. So I think it's important if you can try and get some sort of breathing space.
I think I'd say that we're not scary. We want you to come in and we want you to tell us what's going on for you. We want to help you.
This episode was produced by Jamie Adam.